Hello everyone, RetroChris here, and what if I told you there is a really old game out there that can teach you a lot of history and at the same time is a really good and fun game to play? You say? Let me show you. Let's go back about 30 years ago to the year of 1993. Sid Meier had already released a game called Civilization a few years ago, but now we got Sid Meier's Colonization. I played this game a lot in my childhood, and the things I learned back then have still stuck to my brain. Let me just tell you a bit of the game first. As I said, Colonization was released in 1993 by Brian Reynolds and Sid Meiers, and are best known as Sid Meier's Colonization. This is no sequel to Sid Meier's Civilization that was released in 1991, but share many similarities. The game lets you choose between 4 great colonial powers: Spain, England, Netherlands, and France. Your mission is to take a ship from your respective country, and by the order of the king, explore the new world and hopefully create new trade routes and new lands to sell at. You depart from Europe in 1492, and the game progresses throughout the years up till the 1800s. As you arrive in a new land, you need to find a good place to settle down and build your first settlement. As you explore the new world, you will come across the other colonial powers and can choose to share the lands between you, making peace, or wage war to claim all the land for yourself. There are also several different Native American tribes that you come across, like the Aztecs, Incas, or Tupis, and you can choose to trade with them, send missionaries to try and convert them into Christianity, or even learn new professions from them. As you build your settlement, you need to keep expanding them, recruiting colonists from Europe to help you with everything from farming, fishing, and mining, to making coats, tobacco, or weapons that you can trade with either the Native Americans or trade it back to Europe. There are many professions to fill in and many buildings to build to make you ready for what's to come later. What I love about this game is its simplicity, but at the same time, it is such an amazing source of learning, as the game have a lot of realistic elements to it. To be able to produce anything, you will first need to make sure you produce enough food for the working units. To produce cloth, you need to gather cotton. To produce rum, you need to collect sugar. Even those small things is something you can learn from as a child. It's from this game I first learned about what a distillery is, and that sugar is the main ingredient in making rum. Useful facts? Maybe not. I even learned that cotton is actually a plant. Do remember that I was about 10 to 12 years old at this time, and these were not things I necessarily learned in school. But this next part is where I gained a lot of knowledge that still is present inside my brain as of this day. The game has something called Founding Fathers, who kind of acts like advisors and gives you bonuses for choosing them into the Congress. Every possible Founding Father member is based on a real person, and all of them comes with a short explanation of who they are and what they did in real life. And that is a lot of useful information. The Founding Fathers include people like Benjamin Franklin, George Washington, Paul Revere, and Ferdinand Magellan, to name a few. So many of the facts are still things that you'll learn at school as well, so why do I praise this game so high then? Now, some of the things that you learn in the game will be present in the history books at school, and I probably have read them at some point. But the problem for me is that when I went to school, I don't learn things by reading a book. And that's why I probably wasn't the best at school as well, because when I read things in the history books, it didn't stick. But as for this game, I read about them because I wanted to know what kind of bonus I would get from choosing them specifically, and that's what made it stick. And how do I know it stuck? Well, I'm a person who loves to go to quizzes, and I have had several moments when I've been at a quiz that I know the answer of the question because I played Colonization. It's crazy, but it's true. Let me just summarize what I learned from playing this game as a 10 to 12-year-old. I learned that the colonial powers started exploring the world in the late 1400s, and the biggest colonial powers included England, Spain, France, and the Netherlands. I learned the names of different Native American tribes like the Aztecs, the Incas, the Apaches, and Tupes. I learned who lesser known but known historical persons like Adam Smith, Paul Revere, Simon Bolivar, and Ferdinand Magellan was, and why they are important to our history. I learned the names of different ships like caravels, galleons, frigates, and man-of-wars. And I learned a lot of different city names and which colonial nation they came from. It needs to be said though that there are a lot of educational games out there, but often enough they do lack the fun part of the gaming experience, and often they don't have that much of a replayability value to them. In my last playthrough of Colonization, I played the game for about 4 hours. I did kind of rush it a bit, but still, 4 to 5 hours is kind of a normal playthrough of Colonization, and not for a single second was I bored. And I want to play it again, right now. The replayability of this game is almost endless. So just to summarize the game itself, this game is all about exploring a new land, making treaties for trading, waging war if necessary to claim your land, and slowly build up your town or towns from trading back in Europe and recruiting new colonists. As time goes, you start to realize that your relationship with the colonial power back in Europe starts to become more and more harmful. Your taxes are raised to support the crown's wars back in Europe, or for other ridiculous reasons as to celebrate the king's 29th wife, or just real-life events like the Stamp Act, as a means to suppress you. Sometimes the taxes will be raised by a lot, and you are forced to either accept it, or face consequences of not being allowed to trade certain products. Eventually, you want to declare your independence, which will start a war with the crown. The king will send an army to the New World that you have to defeat to officially win the game. Though after winning your independence, you can still play the game normally for as long as you want. Raising an army strong enough to hold back the royal army though will take a lot of time. And this is a game where you will spend many hours slowly building and expanding your colonization of the land. I do love that this is as slow paced as it is. It is a game that is really relaxing and enjoyable to play. The turn-based strategy element also contributes to you being able to play it completely stress-free. The exploration element of the game is simply amazing. You want to explore the map to find the absolute best places to settle down, and even after settling down, you can go treasure hunting or look for the Fountain of Youth, which will result in a lot of colonists from Europe wanting to join you for free. The music changes between soothing melodies to more upbeat and jolly ones, but they all feel so fitting to the theme of the game. They all give off different vibes of melodies that represents the 1500s, like sea shanties, melodies that reminds of shows like Little House on the Prairie and the Oregon Trail. It really adds to the whole experience. This game is simply a masterpiece, and it can be really educational as well. I feel the strength of this game is that it has the ability to interpret the historical facts into the game in a natural way, and also the fact that it has such a high replayability value means that you will learn the same things over and over again. But yeah, I just wanted to make a video about this game because it was so important to my childhood, and the fact that this game still holds up really well today. I do recommend you checking out this game if you just want to relax while playing a fun and enjoyable game. But yeah, until next time everyone, have an amazing day and cheerio!